Welcome back to the lab. Jim Everett is here. He is a photographer, an artist, and does a great podcast, by the way, I might add, on digital photography.
Thank you.
You can go to itookthat.com and you'll find the podcast. Also his gallery, jamesgordongallery.com. We're going to talk about blowing up pictures. You know, because I mean, most of my shots, you know, I do 5x7 prints, same kind you get from Walmart. Why would I want to take something that's a beautiful shot, by the way, and blow that up? That looks good.
Because things change with size. Let me show you that one in a larger print. That's actually in Chianti.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
That's it as a larger print.
You know what? You're right. It's just, there's a huge difference. It's just much more dramatic when you blow it up. Plus, boy, doesn't that look good on the wall? And this is a good example because there's so much detail in this. And until you get big, you really, you don't see the detail. It's a much better picture when it's big.
And you can get even bigger than that with the software and the technologies we've got now. Huge.
Now, I think some people are, would worry that their camera isn't capable of taking a picture that will look good blown up. How many megapixels is kind of the minimum for something like this?
For something like that, typically, probably 6 megapixels without any work done to it.
How big is this? Is 13 by 19?
The overall size is 13 by 19. That's probably about 11 by 17.
Okay, so 6 megapixels would be enough for that?
Yeah.
This is actually a film picture
it is
that you
film,
scan.
yes. But digital is the same, and with the right software. But
can we show some more?
Sure.
I just love these. I'm sorry.
How about the flowers?
Here's another one. This is beautiful. This is a daffodil. This is an example of not being a lot of detail, but just being so much more dramatic when you blow it up, right? And now how are you blowing these up?
Well, what I do is I put it through Photoshop.
Okay.
If I need to enlarge, I either use genuine fractals.
Well, let's show them.
Sure.
Let's show them. Don't give us all the tips at once.
Okay.
Here.
The first thing to do is to get rid of noise. If you're shooting at a high ISO rating because it's low light, you might get noise. Now,
that's like grainy.
It's like film grain. Yes. Yeah. It's International Standards Organization or something like that. ISO. So
normally you might shoot at an ISO of 100 or 125, but if it's dark,
depends on the camera.
800 or 1600.
Like this Nikon that I use, and this is not a plug for Nikon. I can shoot at 1600. With minimal noise.
Right.
In the shadows.
Because it's a very good camera.
Yeah.
That's why.
Some cameras get noise as soon as you go to 200.
So how do we get? I didn't even know you could get rid of noise.
So what we've got here is a sample of. You see this picture here.
You can see the grain.
Yeah, you can see the grain there. When we blow it up even more, you can see the grain even more.
Is that because you shot this at a high ISO?
I had 5 minutes to shoot in this cinema foyer.
And it's dark.
It was dark, and I was shooting upwards, so I set it as fast as I could, and that's the grain. But I wanted to make a big print, so I noise ninja'd it.
Is that a plug-in?
It is a plug-in. I'll show you where it is. It comes under, where is it? Who makes it? Picture Code, that's right. Noise Ninja.
Picture Code Noise Ninja. Is that an expensive plug-in?
Not really. I think probably about $120 I wrote.
Boy, that does make a big difference.
But then you can see the before and after. Of course, this has already been done, but I don't know if you can see the difference there. So I'll get rid of that.
I can see it here. I don't know again if they'll see it on TV.
So that's been noise ninja'd. So we'll put that away. We've got rid of the noise there. That's
despecified. That is a beautiful picture. And you do want that to really look crisp because it's the geometry of it that is really so stunning, isn't it? Yeah.
So the next thing that we do, if we want to enlarge it, and I won't even talk about all the enhancements that we do.
Right.
Notice that this is at 25% down here.
Oh yeah. So let's zoom in and see what this is when you go to full size.
See down there, that's at 25%. Now this is before I've genuine fractaled it.
Now what's that? Another plug-in?
Another plug-in, and genuine fractals comes from On1. The On1 Suite 3. Actually, this is accessible through here. They've got their own menu item, and you scale current image. And what it does it in one step. Photoshop, if you're enlarging with Photoshop's image size, you need to do it in 10% increments. Genuine fractals handle straight lines and edges, I think, better than Photoshop, but there's a risk that you'll lose some texture, even though the latest version has improved the texture.
So you said something interesting. When you're blowing up in Photoshop, don't do it in one step.
Not in one
do it in smaller, 10 steps.
10% increments. So if you've got a 3800 by 2200 image, or say an 11 by 8 image, you do it as a 12 by 9, and then a 13
slowly go up.
Yeah. Because it then interpolates a bit each time, whereas genuine fractals,
it doesn't need to do that.
It does it in one fell swoop.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
You've got all your settings, settings there. We won't go through and do it because it'll take a while, so I'll cancel out of that. So then I will go to one that has been genuine fractal, and notice that this is 16.67%. The image size
it's huge now.
of this is 13 by 19 at 300. And let me show you.
That's interesting. You want it to be 300 DPI. That's because the printer wants 300 DPI?
There's your print.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh my gosh.
Well,
and you know what? I see no noise. It really comes out beautifully.
The final thing that I did is unsharp mask in Photoshop. Always sharpen less rather than more, and it's the very last thing you do. You can never do much after you unsharp mask. So in Photoshop you always get unsharp mask, it's under here, under filter, and you come down under sharpen, and over here it's unsharp mask. If you're just doing a web thing, it's generally a radius of about 1.5 and an amount of 20.
And that does what?
What it does, it actually gathers
photo.
the pixels and forms sharper contrast. It sort of contrasts the edges.
Right.
And
well, something like this, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It does, and it's all perceptual. Because when you look at it with a magnifying glass, you see the artifacts.
Right.
But it's designed for the viewing distance you see it at to make it look right.
I mean, that just jumps out at you. It looks like a painting. It just jumps out at you.
That's what, and I try and get the experience of what you see at the time.
Right.
And that's what it looks like in the theatre.
It's interesting. So you do every big print you run through Photoshop. You would never go straight from the photograph to the printer.
The picture that I showed you of Chianti, I spent 4 hours in Photoshop on that, with layers and all sorts of things.
And you don't use a standard action because everyone's different?
I drive a stick-shift car. I don't do anything automatic. I've got
He's Mr. Manual.
I've got a friend who's always trying to get me to automate things, and I just do it from scratch every time.
But I could see you would automate it if the settings were always the same, but they're not.
I make it up as I go along.
Yeah. You're looking at it and you're tweaking it as you go.
So
can you make even bigger? I mean, now you're doing, what kind of printer do you use for this?
I use an Epson R1800. It's been out for a while.
Printer. I have a R2400, and they're just beautiful printers.
And you know, an interesting thing.
Archival inks too.
Beautiful. And choice of stock. The stock that I use, and I'll just hold the box up here, for my best prints is the velvet fine art paper.
I love it. It gives it a beautiful look. It's a matte.
20 sheets, $70. It's not cheap.
Very expensive.
But it's beautiful, and because
it's almost like a watercolor.
And it gives better definition because it sucks the ink straight down and the ink doesn't spread out.
Oh, interesting.
On glossy, when you look at it with a magnifying glass, you can see that the ink spreads a bit.
Right.
But on this velvet, it's like a vacuum. It sucks the ink straight in, so you get very precise little picolitas.
So is this a velvet?
This is enhanced matte. That's kind of
another matte.
It's another matte, yes.
That's one of the neat things about that Epson printer. You have a lot of choices of paper. You can even print on canvas.
You can print on canvas. I don't know if I know. Yep, I've got a canvas one here. That's another one.
Look at that. It's just, and then it really does look like a painting.
Yeah.
If you were to matte that and put it in a frame, it'd be a painting.
You like canvas?
Yeah, I do like canvas.
Then here is one.
Oh, look at this! It is a painting. It's funny. You put it on a. You stretched it.
Well, actually, our good friends at Silvano Imaging in Toronto, it's silvanoimaging.com.
Yeah.
Silvano Venuto. He's a fan of yours. I told him what we're going to.
Oh, thank you, Silvano.
And he did that from one of my pictures. That's actually film too. I use both film and digital.
See, you would not know because it's on a stretch. It's a stretched canvas. It looks just like a painting.
Yep.
Look at that.
That's in Banff.
That is gorgeous.
In Canada, of course.
I know where Banff is. I've heard of Banff. Beautiful, beautiful. You want to see more of Jim Everett's photos and learn more about this kind of stuff, go to itookthat.com. His gallery is jamesgordongallery.com. And thanks to Silvano. This is beautiful. That really looks gorgeous.
It's yours.
Really?
For the show.
Can we put it in the...
You can.
In the studio? That's great. They want it in the control room, they say. You can't have it. It's mine. So we'll fight over it a little bit later. He also does a digital snapshot podcast, which you can hear at itookthat.com or on iTunes. Jim, thank you. I want to go home and blow some stuff up.
Okay.
And I mean that in the best way.
In the best way.
Lots more details on the website, step by step for each of these, and there's a lot more at labwithleo.com. More of your calls coming up in just a bit. You stay right here. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. I think that's a great idea. So is that what Silvano does, is frame them like that? That is just so neat.